In this video, we will see the implementation of the network scanning that what we have discussed in the last video. This network scanning I am going to explain with a popular tool called NMAP, which is also called as Network Mapper. Network Mapper tool is a very popular tool to perform the various network scanning methods, including searching for an IP address and getting the information of an IP address and a range of IP addresses, and knowing the information about the ports and the information about the operating system and many more varieties that we can use with the help of NMAP. So this NMAP is used for both basic and advanced scanning techniques. Also, some specialized scripts also available, and the same NMAP can also be used with the programming languages such as Python for writing our own scripts. So that is the reason this NMAP tool has gained significant attention in the security testing community for performing the network scanning activity. Before moving on to the NMAP tool, first we will observe the port scanning technique and what is meant by port and how these ports are important to understand and why these ports are important for network scanning. Usually, the connection to any computer will be established with the help of port. Especially, the connection will be established with the help of socket. Socket is nothing but the IP address of the computer plus the port number on which the service is running. So, in this port number, there exist some specific port numbers which are said to be system defined, and some of the port numbers are the user defined port numbers. Various applications uses the services that run based on the TCP/IP, UDP, DCCP, SCTP. Such kind of protocols will be the backbone of the various applications that are running at the TCP application layer of the TCP/IP protocol stack. So, for all these protocols, for all these applications, these are the backbone protocols that are to be used. However, these protocols will bind to a port number and will perform the servicing activity. So, port numbers used by the various applications are broadly classified into three categories. One is system ports, user ports, second one is user ports, and third one is dynamic or private ports. In any computer, there will be 2 power 16 port numbers will be available. That means around 65,535 port numbers are available, in which 0 to 1023 are the system ports. Those are system reserved ports that cannot be used for application user defined applications. So in order to use by the user defined application, user ports are defined. Those are from the 1024 to 49,151. These port numbers can be used for the user applications. And dynamic or private ports, those are there are reserved ports which are from the 49,152 to last port number, that is 65,535. These are the classification of the port numbers. However, majority of the application layer protocols, application layer things like user applications or web applications or many other applications will be binded to the user ports or system ports. So our target is mainly based upon on the system or user ports. So this is this table showing you various port numbers that frequently used by some standard services. For example, file transfer protocol that uses the system port number 2021. SSH secure socket host will use 22. Telnet uses 23. SMTP uses 25. These are the default port numbers that are binded by the standard services. So these are the general services that will run on any server operating system or server systems. That is the reason, as a penetration tester or an ethical hacker, you must remember Majority of the commonly used services such as FTP, SSH, Telnet, and DHCP, DNS, TFTP, which is called Trivial File Transfer Protocol, HTTP, POP3. See, these are the most common services that need to be remembered by the penetration tester or ethical hacker. I hope by this time you might have understood the port. What is meant by port? Port is a entry point into the system. Usually, uh, in a computer, there exist many applications, but how other computer will recognize these applications? Anyhow, they can observe these applications with the help of IP address, but one IP address cannot be binded to all ports, all the applications that are running in the computer. That is the reason these ports are useful for us to give an uniqueness with respect to the IP address. That means IP address is common, but whenever the port number is changed, one port will be binded to one application. Like that, if a computer consisting of hundreds of applications, they will use the socket such as IP address plus the specific port number that is used by the application service. In that way, the port number will help us to bind the application services and to maintain the connection with the computer. And also, other computers can also easily communicate with the application that is running on a specific computer with the help of IP address and the binded port. So this is the background of the ports and categories and most commonly used services that are binded to the specific port numbers, which is need to be remembered by any penetration tester or ethical hacker. Now we move on to the NMAP tool. NMAP means network mapper. In short, we'll call it as network map NMAP. This NMAP is a very powerful tool, but it will generate huge traffic over the communication network. We'll see the installation of the NMAP. Whenever we use the Kali Linux, NMAP is a inbuilt tool in that. If you are using any other operating system other than the Kali Linux, you may go to this link and download the NMAP tool for the Windows or Linux operating system. Usually, there are two versions of NMAP, such as NMAP and GenMap. Basically, NMAP is a command line tool. From the command prompt of the operating system, you will operate this NMAP tool. GenMap is a GUI version of the NMAP in which graphical user interface is available, drag and drop, and selections of the various options and switches are available. Basically, this GenMap consisting of three main configuration settings, such as target, in which the IP address will be placed. The target IP address will be placed for scanning. Profile. In this, it will use the scan profile. It by default a default profile will be selected. But if you want to mention a specific profile for searching or for performing scanning, you can select the particular. You can select or you can create a custom profile for this particular purpose. Next one is command. Nmap command that runs on the command prompt will be shown on in the GUI and the scanning will be performed and results will be displayed on the GUI. This is what the advantage of the GenMap. Since it is graphical user interface, anyone can use it very easily. Next, we will see the understanding of the Nmap port states. That means whenever Nmap probes for a particular port, then different state information will be displayed onto the screen. One must know what is this port states. Then only they can understand or they can interpret the result that is displayed by probing the Nmap, by using Nmap. So one is open. Open is in the sense system or application corresponding port is actively listening to the connection. That means it is not only listening, also giving the response. This is called open state. Next one is closed state. That means there is no application listening to the connection. That means application related port is not available and also not listening to the connection. Then it is said to be the closed state. Next is filtered. In the in any targeted computer, obviously the targeted computer may be using some security devices, also some firewall settings, and also maybe intrusion detection or prevention systems. So in such cases, the filtered is a status will be displayed, which means that firewall or some hurdle monitoring the connection, so that Nmap is unable to decide is the port open or closed. So since there is a blockage at the target level, so Nmap is unable to decide whether that particular corresponding port is open or closed. Next is unfiltered. In this, ports respond to the Nmap. That means whenever the Nmap has probed to the corresponding service, then the corresponding ports will respond, but unable to decide they are opened or closed. So sometimes there may be half opened. So that is the reason Nmap may not be in a position to decide whether they are opened or closed. Next one is another state we'll get is open/filtered. It means that the port is either opened or filtered, and Nmap is not able to precisely determine the state. The same is case in case of closed/filtered. The port is either closed or filtered, and Nmap is not able to precisely determine the state. So that means here we cannot say that whether the port is either opened or filtered, but Nmap exactly cannot unable to decide that whether it get information of the particular corresponding port. So these are the various port probing related results that will be displayed by the Nmap. So that by looking at these different port states, we can understand what is whether the service related port is actively listening to the connection and will give the response to the probe that you have made. Before moving on to the basic network scanning, first we will set up we will use our virtual lab for conducting the basic network scanning. So I will open the virtual lab, and the virtual lab setup. You may view the previous videos in which there is a video called Quick Virtual Lab Setup, in which I have given you the information of how to set up your own virtual lab within a half an hour time. When the list of list of operating systems was mentioned in the description section of that video, you may download those operating systems, and also some two operating systems such as Metasploitable 3 and Windows XP is also provided. Links were provided. You may download them and install and set up the virtual lab as I have explained in that particular video. It will help you to follow follow the videos, not only this video, for the next upcoming videos where the practical aspects are involved. Here I have opened the virtual machine, Oracle virtual machine, in which I am running the Kali Linux, Windows 7, Metasploitable 3 and Vulnerable OS v2. So in this two are Windows based. One is Windows 7 and Metasploitable 3, which is a server operating system. One is Windows 7 professional operating system. One is server operating system. One is Linux based Vulnerable OS v2 operating system. And the tools the tools that are combined in the security operating system, which is called Kali Linux, that also I am running. So here we know that username and password for the Kali Linux is Kali and Kali. Along with this one, I am running the operating systems such as Windows 7, and here the Metasploitable 3. This is the display screen of the Metasploitable 3. This is based on the Windows 2008 Standard Edition, or Windows Server 2008 Standard Edition. Based on this particular Metasploitable 3 was built up. Next operating system is Vulnerable OS v2. And please remember, the Metasploitable 3 and Vulnerable OS v2, you cannot log in into the computers. The login screen was closed. You cannot enter into the you cannot enter into that operating system, but you have to use the Kali Linux, that is security operating system, and you need to probe into the or penetrate into the Metasploitable 3 or vulnerable OS v2. Now this is the Windows 7 operating system. So Windows 7 operating system, in this let will see the IP address of this Windows 7, that is ifconfig ipconfig in the case of Windows environment. In case of Linux environment, it is ifconfig. So in the ipconfig, the IP address of the Windows 7 is 192.168.1.4, and Metasploitable 3 and vulnerable OS v2. These two operating systems have been we are going to assign the IP address with the help of DHCP. That means dynamically one IP address will be allotted to these two operating systems. Where in case of Kali Linux, still it is loading. So in Windows 7 also we have given a static IP address where Metasploitable 3 and vulnerable OS v2 will take the IP address via DHCP. So here is the nmap. You can click on the nmap so that the nmap related command will be opened. Since nmap is an inbuilt tool in the Kali Linux, so these are the various options that are available in the nmap, especially specific to the target host discovery, scan techniques. What are the different switches that can be used with the nmap so that whatever the scanning related things like how to get the target specification, how to get the host discovery, scanning technique, and port specification and other scanning techniques, service and version detection, script scanning, OS detection, and many other things we can get it via nmap. Actually, to know about the live systems in the computer, the pinging is sufficient. Ping operation is sufficient. But with the ping, you will get whether the OS is responding or not. Whenever the OS is responding, the system is live. But you will not get any information about the port or services that are running on the computer. So we have seen that 19.168.1.4 is the IP address of the Windows 7 operating system. Ping 192.168.1.4. So it is pinging. That means that the system is live, but we cannot get any service information or port information. So to this end, to get this, we need to use the nmap tool. So now we'll see what are the various basic scanning options used in nmap, and we apply those nmap scanning techniques here, and we'll see the results. Conducting the basic scanning with nmap. Here, these are the various basic scanning things that you can use with the nmap, like basic scanning on the single IP. Here, whenever I say target IP address, which IP address you want to target and get the information. That IP address you need to be mentioned. Here, I have checked with the 19.168.1.4, which is Windows 7 based operating system. I may use this single scan IP to get the single scanning information, and to scan the entire subnet, because I want to know what are the live systems under a range of IP addresses or a range of IP addresses in a subnet. Then I may use this basic scan on the entire subnet. One thing you must remember is nmap is a very complex tool and having many number of switches in that, and at the same time nmap will generate huge traffic in the network. Sometimes if you run the nmap for 1 minute or so, sometimes the traffic generated will be more than 1 GB. So such a huge traffic will be generated by nmap. So that is the reason you must remember, uh, that means you must have at least some sufficient memory, that is RAM or something, to be allotted for the virtual machine for running the nmap And whenever you are doing this nmap scanning vigorously, then more memory may be required. So that must be taken care before moving on to the nmap tool. So here nmap -sn 192.168.1.4. So it will take some time to get the information about the IP address. See here, whatever the IP address I have given is Windows 7 operating systems related IP address. It is giving the information such as nmap scan report for 19.168.1.4. The host is up and nmap done, one IP address scanned in 13.38 seconds. So this information was given by nmap, but it is not giving or disclosing any port information or any other information. To have the port information and many other information, we need to use some other switches. Next is to scan the entire subnet. Now, since I am using 19.168.1.1 by 24 network, in which the Metasploitable 3, Vulnerable OS, Kali Linux, and Windows 7 operating system were included, so that is the reason I may use nmap-sn. Target subnet is 19.168.1.1 by 24. So all IP addresses which are active are the which corresponding operating systems are live. That the details will be displayed using the basic scan on the entire subnet. So here we will use the nmap nmap-sn 192.168.1.1 by 24. So it will take some time to uh, check whether what are the computers that are live in the subnet. So it's very fast now. See 19.168.1.4 is up, which is Windows 7 operating system, and 1.33, 1.35, and 1.37. So these are the three other operating systems that are live. We'll see now what is the IP address of the Kali Linux now. So its IP address, Kali Linux IP address was taken as 19.168.1.33. It means 1.4 is of Windows 7 operating system. Since it is a static IP, I have not fixed any IP address for the Kali Linux, so it is taking DHCP, and 33 was assigned as the uh, 33 was assigned as the IP address to this Kali Linux. 35 may be of Metasploitable 3, and 37 may be of Vulnerable OS v2. So here further details were not, we didn't get any further details. Now we'll check for the further details to know about the operating system running and services running. If you want to scan for target systems of different IP addresses, then we may include all those IP addresses in a text file, and we may supply that text file as an input to the nmap, so that all IP addresses will be scanned individually. Here nmap-sn space hyphen small I capital L, the file name, in which you mention all the IP addresses that need to be scanned, and you supply the text file to this nmap tool, and one by one, whatever the IP addresses mentioned in the text file will be scanned, and the scan report will be given to you. Next one is reason scan. This reason scan will give the reason for the services and other ports that are running on the computer. That is, whenever you perform the nmap scan, sometimes you will get the information that so and so ports are open, but you don't know for what purpose, because of what reason these ports are open, and with which signal this was. What is the reason behind knowing the nmap that this particular port is open? On what basis that nmap come to know that the particular port is open? This information you will get with the help of the reason. So we'll use the reason on the IP addresses here. So nmap -reason 192.168.1.4. So it will take some time to print the reason on what basis the information we got. Anyhow, there are no open ports or okay. So this system, Windows 7, consisting of the ports which are open. 80 port is open, 135 port is open, 139, 445, 5357 is open. Like that, many other ports are open. And why this? On what basis it identified that this particular port is open is with the help of the synchronous acknowledgement signal. That means Nmap is sending synchronous signal to all the TCP ports, and from that with the help of that synchronous signal, it is able to get that means the opened connections or the open ports are or we can say the services running on the open ports are replying with the synchronous acknowledgement in response to the synchronous signal sent by the Nmap. So that is the reason synchronous acknowledgement is the reason by which Nmap has come to know that these are the ports that are open on the Windows 7 operating system, that is 19.168.1.4. And also it was mentioned that not shown 989 closed ports are there, and some 989 ports has refused the connection. But these are the ports that are open, and those are open. That the Nmap come to know that these ports are open with the synchronous acknowledgement signal received from the services that are running on these ports. So this is the way you will get the reason behind reason behind why the ports are responding. That will apply and see on the vulnerable operating system, vulnerable OS v2 operating system, nmap reason 192.168. We have seen previously 1.35 is of the vulnerable OS v2, and we use 34 and 35. Okay, 34 and 19.168.1.35. 34 is of the metasploitable 3 and 35 is of vulnerable OS v2, and we'll see what are the open ports available and on what basis these open ports are responding. It will take 1 or 2 minutes depending upon the system speed. So whenever we perform the scanning, it is always recommended to make note of the open ports and all in a register. So the next coming steps will become easy once you are recorded with the open ports in a register. Here 34 is not responding, I think so. So 35 is responding. Here network scan port for 19.168.1.35, in which FTP is giving the response, SSH is giving response, HTTP is giving response, NetBIOS is responding, MySQL server which is running in the vulnerable OS v2 is also responding. Like that, various other services that are running in the vulnerable OS v2 are now responding to the reason switch that we have used with the nmap. Okay, the IP address of the metasploitable 3 is not 1.34, it is 1.37. So what we'll do is we'll run the 1.37, 19.168.1.37, and we'll know whether the metasploitable 3 is responding and is there any other open ports are there and how these open ports are responding for what purpose they're responding. Well, there are ports such as 22, 80, 667, sorry, 667, IRC, HTTP, and SSH. These are the three services are there which are responding to the synchronous acknowledgement. Since the synchronous acknowledgement was received to the NMAP tool from the Metasploitable 3, so these three are the open ports that are identified on the Metasploitable 3 operating system. So this is the way how we will perform the reasoning on which the systems are responding. The switch -SO will be used for identifying any supported protocols available on the operating system. And next one is firewall probe. Here the firewall probe is one that especially to check whether the targeted computer consisting of a firewall set and any other security device was set, and whether the incoming requests are filtered or not. This kind of information we are going to get with the help of firewall probe. Now we'll see the -SO, that is the supported protocol option, and the firewall probe. I would like to see whether the supporting protocols in Metasploitable 3. So nmap -SO 192.168.1.37. You requested the scan type which are required root privileges. Okay, fine. We'll use root privileges. Sudo. Enter the password tally. Now it will take some time to get the supported protocols by the Metasploitable 3. You may give series of IP addresses separated by space along with -SO, so that automatically what are the different supported protocols that are available on those IP addresses will be displayed. So the protocols that are supported in the Metasploitable 3 are ICMP, IGMP, TCP, UDP, and PIM, UDP Lite. So these are the various protocols that are available, that are supported in the Metasploitable 3. So this is the way we are going to check, and we'll check whether firewall filtered or not. Sudo. We can use the firewall filtering. Sudo nmap -s capital A 19.168.1.4. This is Windows 7 operating system. We'll see whether is there any firewall available on the Windows 7 operating system. We'll check whether the Windows 7 consisting of the firewall or not. We'll go to control panel. The control panel consisting of security, firewall. So here firewall is turn off or on. Turn on now. So Windows firewall state is off now. So we can turn on firewall and we can also run it again. So here what we got is all 1000 scanned ports on 92 are unfiltered. That means the firewall is not enabled on the target system, that is Windows 7. Now what I will do is that will turn on the firewall and we'll run it again. So firewall is on. Now we'll run the same command again. And this Windows 7, I have disabled uh, the security defender also. That is, this is what Microsoft Security Essential. I have turned off this. You can turn on it also for the real-time protection. And also again, you run the same command, you may get some different results. Because here we are going to check only for the firewall probe here in this case. Now all 1000 scanned ports on 19.168.1.4 are filtered. So this is that means when the firewall is on, we can go and filter we will get the information that there exists firewall on the computer. So like that, we can also check for the 30, 34, 35 and 37 also. 19.168.1.37 also. So it will take some time to scan. So we got the result that 19.168.1.35, which is vulnerable OS v2. It is unfiltered. That means there is no firewall in the vulnerable OS v2. And in the Metasploitable 3 also there is no firewall. That is 19.168.1.37. So basically, this to perform this firewall probing, it will check the system ports, that is from 0 to 1024. So around 1000 ports will be scanned, and since the system ports are guarded by the firewalls, so NMAP will probe for the system ports and will come to know whether the target computer was enabled with the firewall or not. So this is the way firewall probing will be done. Next, whenever you have the GUI version of the NMAP tool, you can draw the topology out of the IPs and the live systems that are discovered in the network. Next one is quick TCP scan. Here, quick TCP scan will give the fast information about the TCP related protocols or TCP related services that are running on the target computer. It means so far whether the system is live or not, we have seen what are the supported protocols we have seen, but we want to see what are the services that are running on the target computer or target IP address. So for that, this quick scan will help us to know services running on the target computer. And next one is the UDP scan. So UDP port scan will be done on the ports, that is system ports, which are reserved ports which are from 1 to 1024, and it will identify any UDP services that are running on the target system, such as DNS services and all. DNS in general, they will use the UDP as the supporting protocol for for providing the DNS services. And next one is OS detection. What is the operating system that is running on the target system? Now we'll see the quick TCP scan, UDP scan, and OS detection on the by using the NMAP tool in the Kali Linux. To have the quick TCP scan, so NMAP -T4 -F 19.168.1.35. So it will give us a quick TCP scan, which will give us the services that are running on the ports. Here I am targeting the Metasploitable 3. So you look at, these are the ports and services which are running on that, it will be displayed here. Next, I want to see the operating system information. So for that, the option is capital O, capital O, and target IP address. It has to give the version number of the operating system that is running, because the version number, with the version number we can come to know is there any vulnerability present in that edition of the operating system. So TCP/IP fingerprinting for OS can require root privileges. Okay, we'll use the root privileges sudo nmap -o 19.168.1.35, which is belong to Metasploitable 3 operating system. So if you look at, so MAC address of the target system was displayed here. Next, device type is a general purpose device running Microsoft Windows 7 or 2008 or 8.1. OS CPE is Microsoft Windows underscore 7. CPE Microsoft Windows underscore 7 Service Pack 1. So what is the Service Pack 1 is running on here, and Microsoft Windows Server 2008 Service Pack 2 R2 version is going on. So OS details are Microsoft Windows 7 SPO Special Service Pack 1 or Windows Service Pack Windows Server 2008 Service Pack 1 is going to be used. That means it is giving you the information, the possible information of the operating system that is used by the target computer. You may try to explore any one of these vulnerabilities. So at least one vulnerability will be successful, so that the correct exploitation of the vulnerability may give you cracking into the computer and entering into the target system. So this is the OS footprinting that will be done with the help of nmap tool. Next, we'll use the UDP scanning. Now we'll check for the presence of the UDP services on any of the operating system. Currently, I'm going to check on the Windows 7 operating system, where the IP address is 192.168.1.4. So nmap -s capital U 192.168.1.4. So nmap. So it will take some time to give the result. Now we'll see the UDP ports that are running on the Windows 7 operating system. So for that nmap, we'll use the switch called -s capital U 192.168.1.4. It will take some time to present the result, around 1 or 2 minutes it will take. Yeah, and also it depends upon the speed of the computer. Well, this is the result was given. Here all the 1000 ports were scanned. Actually, UDP services will be binded to the system ports, which are from the 1 to 1023. So the reason first 1000 ports will be scanned by the nmap tool for checking of the UDP services. And in this we observed, just like how TCP related port status that we have seen previously, in the same way UDP port related status are also same, open / filtered. That means there exists firewall or some security systems on the target computer, but the nmap is unable to decide whether the port is responding or not. Okay, so nmap is very doubt about the status of the port. So that is the reason we'll get the status as open/filtered. So what we'll do is we'll go for the control panel in the Windows 7. In this firewall, so we'll close the firewall or disable the firewall, and we'll run the UDP scan again from the Kali Linux. So turn off the firewall, turn off the firewall. We'll run the command again. So far almost I have spent around 4 or 5 minutes, but still it is not printing any UDP services. That means that Windows 7 may not be having any UDP services running on the computer, but still it is searching for that. It may take time. Anyhow, you may run it at your in your free time and see what are the UDP services that are running on the Windows 7 operating system. So far, we have seen basic scanning of the ports, especially the protocols that are running supported and services that are running on TCP, UDP, and OS detection, and somewhat aggressive scanning. So these kind of things we have seen. The main thing that we are supposed to understand in Nmap tool is Nmap tool will generate huge traffic. Okay, it will generate huge traffic, and this is one advantage to the victim machine also. At the victim side, if you find any if any security engineer sits there and wants to monitor the traffic there, he can easily understand that somebody is performing Nmap scanning on our computer. So I will show you now how you can detect that. There is a tool called WinDump. If you have Wireshark on your target computer, it is well and good. Otherwise, you may use WinDump. So www.winpcap.org/WinDump. You can go to this website. In this website, you will find downloading of the WinDump. This is the TCP dump for the Windows using WinPayCap as the tool. So TCP dump is the older and is a very basic version of the capturing of the traffic. So which is basically used by the Wireshark also. This WinPcap will be used by the Wireshark also for capturing the traffic from the network interface. So you click on the download get dump, that is get WinDump. So then it will go to the WinDump page, and just to download this WinDump. So I have already downloaded the WinDump here. Along with this WinDump, you require WinPcap also. So download WinPcap, you download the WinPcap. Then you copy and take it to the Windows 7 operating system or Windows XP operating system that you have downloaded from the drive link that I have given. You can port these two. You take these two to the Windows XP or Windows 7 operating system. And currently what I'm doing is I'm installing these two. I'm copying these two and installing in the Windows 7 operating system. So in the Windows 7 operating system, I have already installed this WinPcap. First of all, you have to install the WinPcap. Then copy that WinDump into your user folder or maybe on desktop also, that is your wish. What I have done is I have copied into the user folder. So there is user folder is available in C drive users. This OS name is ETH. In this ETH I have copied. So this is the WinDump I have copied here. Now I'm not making, I'm opening the command prompt. In the command prompt, you can find in the command prompt dir. So here you will find the windump.exe. Now you run the windump.exe. This windump is now listening to the network interface, and it is going to listen to the network interface. And this is the general traffic going in the on the network of 192.168.1.4 1.1 by 24. This is the general network is going on. Currently, I am not doing any Nmap scan from the command prompt. I'm not making any Nmap scan from the Kali Linux. So that is the reason the traffic which is happening here is somewhat slow. This is general way of beckoning in any network that will happen, that was captured by this TCP dump. So this is the slow way of traffic that you have observed since I am not running any Nmap. As I told you in the beginning, Nmap will generate a huge traffic. Assume that Windows 7 is your target system, and you are the security person sitting on the Windows 7 and monitoring the traffic, incoming traffic. So If there may be an attacker who is sitting with on the Kali Linux and know your IP address and trying to attack or scan your computer. So now the hacker may perform the identification of the operating system that is available on your IP address. So what he will do is he will go for sudo nmap hyphen capital O 192.168.1.4. So now we'll go to the Windows 7 and we'll see what is the status of the traffic captured by the Windom. You look at now huge traffic. This huge traffic was captured by the Windom. It shows that there exists huge traffic. That means Nmap will generate huge traffic. So that if by using Nmap, if you want to scan any target computer, on target computer, if security analyst is monitoring the incoming traffic, he can easily identify, okay, whether anybody is targeting his computer or not. So look at huge traffic. Previously, when I'm not running the Nmap, there is not much traffic. Simply general beckoning is happening in the network. So this is the way you can identify the Nmap traffic on the target computer as a security engineer. Next, we'll move on to the intense scan. So far, we have done the scanning individually, but with this intense scan, all the scanning technique, all the scanning procedures that we have done previously will be done vigorously at a time using this intense scan. So the syntax of the intense scan is nmap -t4-a-v and the target IP address. Now we'll run the intense scan and also parallelly we'll see how the traffic is generated on the Windows 7 operating system. So sudo nmap -t4-a-v 192.168. This intense scan will find out the services that are running on the target system. It is a deeper scan. We can say it is a deeper scan. It will go in deep of every service and it will touch each and every port. And also not only this one, it will also identify the what you call the operating system and other services that are running on, including version and various version numbers also. So it discovered various ports by now. Discovered open port 135 by TCP, and it will take 1, 2 or 3 minutes to scan the target system in a deeper way. In meanwhile, we'll see the traffic going on the Windows 7 operating system. So this is unstoppable. Huge traffic is going on. The reason is intense scan is performed using Kali Linux. So this is the result of the intense scan. So previously with the OS footprinting, OS detection, we got up to here only, but now we got the service information. What is the host name? What is the host name? That is ETH-PC and the operating system details also. That means here the host name also we got, the system name also we got. And host script results into, these are the different services, ETH-PC on which SQL Express is running on. This SQL Express is on the Microsoft SQL Server 2008 Service Factory. That means with this you come to know that what is the database server running on the computer. Next, what are the user groups like ETH-PC, work group, and many other things. It was given here. Now you look at, this is the specialty now. it has given the detailed description of the OS. Windows 7 Professional 7600 version, or we can say Windows 7 Professional 6.1 version is using on the target computer. It is sufficient for the hacker to know what are the different vulnerabilities available with this Windows 7 Professional 6.1, and they may use these vulnerabilities to exploit the target system. So next one is whatever the different SMB security levels and authentication level, user level, guest level. See, all these levels will be indicated here. Like this, many other information will get via this intense scan. This is what the intense scan advantage, in which we'll find the technical aspects in detail uh, about every service and every port, and every information about the target computer will get via this intense scan. So to summarize, in this video we have seen the basic network scanning using powerful Nmap tool. In the later videos, we will see some of the deeper concepts of the network scanning, like that is going deep of the network scanning using Nmap with the help of the Nmap scripts and Nmap packages that we can use with the help of programming languages to develop our own scripts. So these things we'll see in the next video.